Hi, welcome to Fiberchats. Today I have a very special crew with me here. This is some of my good friends. I'll introduce to you Merit from Butzeria, Sara from Cave Elaine, and Deborah from Penny Lane Yarn. Welcome, ladies. These are my friends in real life, not just virtual. And so it's super special for me to have all three of you together here and to talk about a very special project that you guys have been doing for quite a lot now. It's like it's not that project that you just meet for collaboration for a day and then it's over. This is a year-long collaboration. So tell me a little bit about like how this idea of this collaboration was born and what can people expect this year from you?
So this is what you can call a queen's box, and it's a queen's box. So it's something a bit special because in Europe, I don't know how it is, for example, in America, but we have this Epiphany on the 6th of January, which is the Three Kings Day. After Jesus was born and so on. So the three kings arrives and they offer their presents and so. And so the idea of the Queen's Box is to say, okay, a lot of people do the Advent calendar, which is beautiful idea. We have found with Sarah that it was a little bit too, it was too big for the idea we had. And so we decided in January, January usually is like something of a down moment. So we said, why don't we make a box that someone can offer to themselves or offer to someone else, to a knitter. And it would be a feminist box and it would go from the 1st of January to the 6th of January. And so it will be a queen's box, not a king's box, but a queen's box. So that was the idea.
So the Queen's box is a bit because also the six in Italy, and both me and Deborah as Italian heritage, is il giorno della Befana. The Befana is a very strange figure in our tradition, and it's like an ugly witch coming for the bad guys or for the good sorry, for the bad children or for the good children. And so she will bring something to the good children and something else not really as nice to the bad children. And so we thought that as in Italy we celebrate this day also as the Befana Day, that we transform this horrible witch with a long nose going on a broom in the sky in a queen. And so we took a bit of my historical studies that I did on history and especially on women history. We mix it with our love and knowledge of recipes, and we mix it a bit with our love for movies. And so we went this year for Marie Antoinette, beginning from the main inspiration for the wool concept this year came anyway from the Sofia Coppola movie, not only as Marie Antoinette as an historical and important queen of France, but also from the inspiration that came from the wonderful Sofia Coppola movie, Marie Antoinette.
I'm just the guest um, in this
You're more than a
project.
guest.
um, the two ladies invited me to join this year's Queen's Box with a design, and of course, I feel very honored I can be part of it. But I think these two ladies really came up with a great idea, because the advent calendars are um, out there in you can have everything what you like, but many of us and myself as well feel always a little bit, let's say, overwhelmed or depressed after Christmas and Sylvester, and falling into a little black hole, a little depression after all the festivities. And I think January is for myself, especially, a very dark month, because until 31st of December, there is so many Christmas lights and everything everywhere. But on the 1st of January, it feels always so dark. And I think with this Queen's Box idea, which you can start the year, the first 6 days of the year with some surprises and for yourself, and chill down after all the stress of the holidays. And even at the end, you can make something for yourself. I think that's a pretty beautiful idea. And I'm sure this is also something that could help a lot of ladies out there. So I'm very pleased that I could join this year's box.
What makes for me this box very special is that, I mean, when time comes and it's between like May and July, there are thousands of dyers who do the Advent boxes. And the not the problem or the issue, but my hesitation with the Advent boxes is that, first of all, it's extremely expensive usually, and not everybody can afford it. Secondly, there is a lot of yarn usually, because when you're buying Advent box, it can be up to 24 colors in yarn. And then you have all this beautiful yarn and you're like, oh my God, what am I doing with all this yarn, right? So it's sort of like this very opulent gift that you can get, but then it's sort of like, I mean, I bought into the whole excitement of Advents numerous times, but then you get it and you sort of like, oh my God, what am I doing with that? So the idea of Queen Box, it's a little bit more manageable. It's a little smaller. It's like really like a treat for yourself. Yeah. But to me, like the most interesting part of that is how it's born. It's not something that like one discussion and it's over. You guys start brainstorming that as soon as you're done with the first Queen Box, you're already brainstorming the next Queen Box. And there is a deep historical research that goes into that. You get to like intimately know that queen. You watch movies about her. You look at the artists and paintings. You look at what people were wearing in that period of time. You look at what they were cooking at that period of time. So for me, like the whole beauty of that is that it's this group research. You all sharing the ideas and pictures and movies, and it's just like amazing process. So let's talk a little bit about this year's process. Why did you decide on Marie Antoinette? Like, let's talk about Marie Antoinette first.
I have to say, so when we decided that we will not make an Advent calendar, which is a before calendar, but we decided to make an after calendar and decided about this Queen's process. If I can say this, Sara and I, we already have 15 queens waiting. So it's...
Some people have ladies in waiting and we have queens in waiting.
Exactly. So we have at least 15 queens waiting. And so we have this list, and the way why we've chosen all those queens, the 15, is first of all, because they are feminine, they're women images, women personage, and we don't talk a lot about all those women personage anyway in history and whatever. because also Sarah and I, we might be a little bit like romantic about all the costumes and the beauties, the brocart, the silk, the everything. And I will let Sarah talk about this idea about Marie Antoinette. But as she said, we were both lovers of the Sofia Coppola movie, also because of those colors and the opulence of the costumes and the scenery and everything. And so it was, I have to say, it's been quite easy for us to fix our attention to this particular queen. And I will let Sarah talk about it and then also why we've chosen Meret for this particular project.
So Marie Antoinette, well, we always see her as the queen that did the lavish fest, the lavish party at Versailles, the one not caring about anybody else than herself, her jewelry and her dresses. But she was a woman in power. And that is something that we've always forget. Especially she was the daughter of a woman in power. She knew what meant being in a court. She knew what meant having power as a woman, and she knew how to use it. Let's forget about decapitation and give brioche to the people that are angry, but let's focus on what she gave to the world, or what her legacy is, because we don't have to forget that history is not only made by the men that actually sign the proposal of the law or sign the act of war, but also by the women that behind those men were whispering in their ears. And those women had many power and powers that are considered very futile, but that actually were quite important because a color or a dress or a peruche chosen by a queen could change the entire fashion of an era completely. And Marie Antoinette was a protagonist of a changing era, of a changing France, and she was giving everybody her own view of what regal and royal meant. All our to get back to what Irina was saying, all our process. It's chatting between each other, is choosing a designer as good as Meret that took the challenge in 1 second and came out with a pattern that is incredible. You have to wait for it when you will open your Queen's box, but it's really the perfect pattern for the perfect color that Deborah created, and perfect for Marie Antoinette and for the wool box idea that we had this year. But our choice goes also to the silk paper we wrap every single gift in. Every year is another color. It's never the same color. Last year was lavender. This year is another color that we don't tell you. If there is a bag, the bag, I really do, of course, queens and noble women in the 18th century didn't bring bags with them. They shouldn't. They have nothing. They don't have to touch the money. They don't have to touch anything. But I created a bag thinking what maybe Marie Antoinette would choose as a bag. So a lot of trimmings, a lot of fun stuff, trying to reflect her way of dressing and the fashion that she gave to the French court. And so there is all this chatting between us, so we can do a photo shoot in a castle, or what we put as a surprise, because normally, of course, it's a knitting box. There is yarn, there is a pattern, there is a project bag, and there is another surprise knitting related, but we are at four little packages. There is still two and plus other surprises that are absolutely not knitting related. For example, last year in the lavender haze, there was the lavender haze pattern, there was a lavender skin of yarn, there was a little sachet of lavender from my own garden, there was a Christmas tea to taste while you are knitting. And there was other fun pluses that we put inside to give you exactly the joy of a surprise in very sad and gray month as January, as Merit was saying, because especially in this part of Europe, there is a lot of gray in January, at the beginning of January.
Well, Merit, you were put in a very difficult position from what I see, right? You have these two brilliant ladies who studied the queen, who thought about it for months before they even approach you. They already chosen the queen. They already have the image of her, right? And how they gonna put this box together. They already started chatting on WhatsApp or on the phone about like all the little surprises that might have. And here they coming to you and they said, Merit, this is what you have to design this. And you have to create something so special to make it all come together. Was that a lot of pressure on you?
Good question. Maybe call me naive. I didn't thought about all the points you just said because I didn't know or realize how much Sara and Deborah already were talking to each other about this project. So when they asked me, for me it was new, and so that was my starting point. And of course, I already knew Marie Antoinette a little bit because I'm not sure if this European lady thing that we are all a little bit hooked with the royals, the new and the past ones.
Right.
And I think Marie Antoinette is quite a controversial person of history, but it was also good for me to see or to watch the movie because this gave me also some other point of views about Marie Antoinette, and then it was quite fast the decision made what I do, because I just got a picture in my mind what in my view Marie Antoinette would wear, knitted from yarn. So not really pressure, but it was fun.
Well, Deborah and Sara, let's talk a little bit about your process of choosing a designer, because you guys are very invested in the process. You enjoyed that. It's your baby, it's your love child. You go over discussing like the movies you saw and the articles you've read and some paintings that depict in different moments of time. And with Marie Antoinette, there is like a lot of material out there. There is a lot of books about her and all of that. Was it difficult to pick a designer?
No, not at all. Absolutely not. There are two things. Sarah and I, we like to work together because we are friends, okay? And I love to work with my friends. It's something very important to me. And there is something I want to say is Sara and Meret are my two first friends in the fields of yarn, which means when I decided, when I went on dyeing yarn professionally, I met Meret and I also met Sara in the first festival I've been attending in France, and we automatically were befriended. And so for me, this particular Queen's box is very important. And the choice of Meret, I have to say, it was for me, and I'm sure it was the same for Sarah, was the most natural and easy thing ever. Because Meret, who Butzeria, so the designer behind Butzeria, I have to say something about her. She's a very special talent. She's a very special talent because she is able to design a punk sweater with a kind of artistic brutality. And she's able to design what she's wearing right now, which is an incredible, delicate lace that would perfectly fit to any royal queen anywhere and at any time of the past history. And so this is something very fascinating because she can be, let's say, I don't like the term brutal, but she can be brutal in the design when she designed a punk sweater. And another like Barbie sweater too. But she can have the most delicate hand when it comes to lace. And so this incredible variety of her talent has always fascinated me. And of course, Sarah knows her too. We have lots of fun when we see each other together. And so it was not even a 2-second question. It was automatic. It was we didn't have to talk about it. It was just let's ask Meret if she wants to do this with us. So it was no question.
Well, when you think about picking a designer and, pitching it to a designer, your idea of this box, how do you discuss it between each other? Like what goes into that consideration, right? Like, because you basically like releasing control at that point. Like you have the idea of like what's going to be in the box, but then you have to give it to designer and trust that they're going to create something that's going to fit perfectly into your vision.
That's the first time we invite a designer, okay? All the box we had before, it was only Sarah and me. And it was extremely fun. But it was also a lot of work for Sarah because Sarah is also a designer and she would have to design the bag, design this, design there. And so it was a lot of work, an enormous amount of work. And then it came naturally the idea that we would, I think, before we thought about inviting different designers for the box, we thought about inviting Meret for the box. So it was not, we should do that with invited designers. It was like, why don't we ask Meret to work with us on this very particular project? I don't know if Sarah agrees with what I say, but this is, and actually I cannot even exactly remember it because it was so natural to say, hey, just why don't we ask Meret? It's like, wow. So
Absolutely. I remember that maybe when she told me so, I asked her, I told Deborah, but do you think she can be interested? I mean, do you think she will say yes? Because we are so small. I mean, we have an idea, we are ready, we are passionate, but I don't know if she will say yes. I was a bit wow, Meret. I mean, she's one of the biggest Swiss designers. So, I mean, let's calm down. Maybe we ask someone smaller but no, she said yes, and we were so happy, and we knew from the start that she was coming up with something incredible and perfect.
Right.
And I mean, we saw that the collaboration went so smoothly, and I mean, you will see when you will open that box. My God.
No, I
Like,
actually can't wait to see what the three of you came up together. Let's talk a little bit more about the process of it. Because I was a like side witness of some of the chatting that went in that group. So talk to me about like from the first idea to like actually putting out that box. How much you would estimate you were talking to each other about the box?
wow. Let's say that me and Deborah normally chat every day. If we don't chat every day, it's because we are too busy doing something, but we chat at least, yeah, I think every day we say, how are you? Everything okay? And we go on. The best part is that as we here we are four women in business. And the best part having someone that is also a friend is that you can pitch them ideas and you know that they will be honest when they answer you. And this is very important. Also for the Queen Box is very important that we are honest. Like, for example, for me, an idea of a queen is something black, red, like Mary Queen of Scots, you know. But Deborah tried to bring me more towards something baroque, something gold, and not as
Severe.
yeah, not as bloody as our bloody. And so yeah, I mean, as we speak every day, someday we chat maybe, or we video call for 1 hour, only speaking about the Queen's Box, because we have to place some orders for the material, for stuff that we need to go on and keep the working going. And someday we maybe speak 1 minute about the Queen Box, saying, okay, how many bags were you able to do today? And stuff like that, you see? Or is the color coming along? It's, as you were saying at the beginning, Irina, it's an year-long process, because you have to think that it's we are solo businesses here in this chat. We are four women that we grow and work on our businesses alone. We don't have a team. We don't have a shipping elf. We have just ourselves.
Yeah, it's not
So
tell your people to talk to my people and figure out the details.
exactly, but it's us talking to us. So it's us buying the boxes that your actual Queen Box will be inside. Is us buying and choosing the color of the silk paper that will be inside your box. Is us choosing all the colors. Is us choosing the little surprises that go inside. It's a lot of decision that we have to make, but we almost never have a problem on a yes or a no. Because normally what is yes for me is yes also for Deborah, and what is no for me is no also for Deborah. I mean, we almost have no bickering, which is very strange. But I mean, we go along and we have the same vision that will create the perfect box to make all our clients happy. Because at the end, we know some of them, we know them in person, some of our clients. So we also base our choices on their smile, on making them smiles.
I want to bring up something that you mentioned that I think is a very important point. So you said that you were hesitant to ask Mary because she's such a big and famous designer and you are small businesses. And I think that's actually such a beautiful thing, that when women unite in small businesses together and they make something very special. And this box is very special because it takes such an amount of thought, collaboration, talking, going back and forth, discussing all the little details, learning about the inspiration character or the queen who is behind it. And I feel like it's like that's to me the most special thing about this box. It's not that you thinking about how many boxes you're gonna sell, if you're gonna do whatever, if you're gonna go for the most popular thing out there. It's really like truly the labor of love, this whole putting together this box.
I want also Mara to expose about this, but something very important, I think, for me and Sarah, and I'm sure Marat has this inside of her too, is as Sarah said, it's not only that we are one person business. It's, as far as I'm concerned, sometimes it feels lonely in the sense of I'm alone cooking yarn in my kitchen all the time. And so, for example, this friendship I had instantly with Marat, I think we really had an instant love together years ago. It was something very important to me. We organized a very small event years ago when I decided to make an opening for Penny Lane. So Marat was the first person to say, I'm coming, I will do workshops there, we do this together. And for a long time, and I still think that is together we are stronger is my motto. This is one thing. But the other thing is, as I say, sometimes just dyeing yarn, maybe writing patterns or whatever, is a lonely process. And if I have to be honest, this Queen's box, I make it for myself in the sense that the process of working this with Sarah, this year with Merit, next year it will be with someone else. The working this together, the laughing about choosing the queen, choosing the color, this and that, choosing all the small surprises that Sarah was talking about. This is a process I make for fun. It's a fun thing. It's not a work. For me, the Queen's box is not working. It's a fun, it's a process I need in my year because it's different than just I love dyeing yarn. I adore it, but the Queen's box, I live for this Queen's box, I have to say.
I think it's we are one woman shows, of course, and such collaboration giving us the opportunity to have working colleagues again, because otherwise, as Deborah said, she's standing in her kitchen alone. Sarah is sewing in her atelier, and I'm sitting in my living room at the desk and writing patterns, and there is no exchange. And but I think we also grow, not business minded, but also with our personality, when we can work together with other people, other women who are in the same field. And I wasn't so much chatting with the both of them because I need, for my process to get up, come out with an idea for a design, I can't discuss too much with others, because then I start to struggle and question myself or my idea too much. So then it's too close. But for example, last week we all met close to Zara in a castle, and we had a very fun photo shooting. That's why I'm wearing this strange Marie Antoinette hair. But we made a photo shooting of the three queens, and it was so much fun. And after, in this little castle, there was a restaurant, and we all went together to have lunch. and to chat and to sit and to gossip and to laugh. And that's the fun part. And that's, yeah, that's also the important thing, I think, for myself, to have the chance to get together and to see what happens and to have a good time. Because I just heard today, but I know this sentence since a long time, but if you do what you love, you will never call it work. And I think that's next to the sentence that Deborah said, together we are strong. I think these are the two most important sentences for myself.
When I read historical novels, the life of those queens was not as straightforward and uncomplicated as it might seem. There was a lot of influences. There were pulls from the family on both sides. There were all the intrigues in Versailles behind the scenes. And it was like walking the tightrope for Marie Antoinette all her life since the childhood. When you investigate the queen, when you watch those movies, when you read those articles, when you look at those paintings, how does that research change your view of today, modern life, modern women, and you personally as women?
I have to say that, so Marie Antoinette has a lot of different angles you can see her through. As Sara said, she was the daughter of a very powerful empress of Austria. She came to France and she was extremely young in a different country without speaking the language. And people hated her. And so she has a lot of different faces. For me, I remember but it was long ago. I don't remember which one of the movies about Marie Antoinette or the books or whatsoever, that at a certain point I realized how courageous she was. Because actually, when the whole revolution began, her husband, the King of France, told her, "You take the kids. You take the kids, you take the carriage, everything is ready, and you leave." When all the peasant and everybody and the revolutionary were in front of the castle when it began. So it was days and days before they actually were taken to La Bastille. And she said, "No, this is my place. I'm staying here. I'm the Queen of France. I'm staying here for my people. I'm staying here with my husband. I'm staying here for my children. This is something we have to confront. This is something." And so there was always this image of, yeah, Marie Antoinette is l'Autrichienne, so coming from Austria. She's not French. She's spending too much money. She has, as Sara said before, but there is this very strong women inside of her who said, "Hey, no, I'm not." I would have gone. And I wish she would have too, but it says, "No, I'm staying here. This is my people. This is my husband. Those are my kids. We're staying here and we are united in this." So this is for me also another image a lot of people don't have of this queen, for example. And it probably changes me also. So it changes my view about how she was, but also my view about, I don't know how to say that, but all those, what I discovered actually is how we view women in history a lot of time are negative point of views. If a woman was to this, she was to that, she was blah, 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 blah. And so even Marie Antoinette, who's been decapitated because she was the queen and so she was seen as a very negative person. And she was also seen as the negative person throughout history from then to now. And so what I've learned also going through through this person and through the movies and also through the new historiography of her, not only old things, is, as you say, this courage, this everything. And so I think I want to look at public. We are in a time very controversial, everything. I want to look at people, for all, at women, not with the eyes of who hate them or who love them or this and that, but just trying to say, hey, this is a woman. What is this woman thinking? Who is this woman? Why? What are her eyes seeing? So respecting more the direct point of views of a woman and not what people say about them. So there was also Marie Antoinette was very interested in ecology, in nutrition. She invented the potager. So she had a small village at Versailles where everything, vegetables and fruit and everything was growing. So she was a very different personage as what we thought. And I think she would be a very modern personage. So I think we should look at women through history, but also today as force of nature and hear what they say, not just thinking, oh, so that was a little bit my approach.
I think it's very important for contemporary women to think and know a bit more about the history of the women that came before us, being them queen, peasants, lodgers, or any work they were allowed to do, and especially in this, in our world, in our industry, in the knitting industry. Because it's important for us to realize that we are not alone. First of all, we are stronger together. We are not doing a women's hobby. We are not fragile grannies at home thinking about Marie Antoinette while we knit with our fragile hands and yarn just to have fun. But we are women that realize we have a work ethic, and that's, I think, is the biggest point that bring the three and the four of us together, because I think we have the same work ethic and the same life ethic and the same respect towards everybody. And I think that deeping dive in the life of a great queen, even just for fun, because at the end we are doing it for fun, give us the strength to recognize more and more women that made history but didn't make it to the history books. Because yes, Marie Antoinette, as we said before, is not really recognized as an important figure that was shifting the power strength and that were working behind the scene on the wool of Europe.
Right.
Because anyway, she was coming from, as Deborah said, from another court, a very important court, to one of the biggest courts in Europe. So I think that all this digging on these women that are just the point of the iceberg, because the queen are simple to study, are I don't know, the cow, the woman that was doing milk on the cows, the lodger, the woman making butter, the woman making stockings, or all the other women that are difficult to study because we have nothing in our hands to study their life. I think that putting a different light, putting a different perspective on these big women and trying to put light on their on their life, not only linked to men and to men powers, I think is one of the biggest important takeaway that we have from these boxes, from behind the scene of these boxes.
Right. Merit, how about you? Was there something that you thought like was very interesting or very impactful as you were learning more about Marie Antoinette?
I think for me especially, every time if I study something about a queen or some historical person, especially women, for me it's the most impact that I realize how strong these women were in the past already, because if we are honest, a lot of these queens were way stronger than the kings. And if they were visible stronger because they were the main person or just in the background, it doesn't matter. But for me, it's helpful to see that even in such decades where life wasn't really easy, and without our super functional modern help tools, they ruled the world until they lost the head. But
while they lasted.
not all lost it, but yes. And this, I think that's a point that helps me, even if I go through some hard times with my business or private, to say, let's do it. Let's go through it. After it will be a sunny morning again. There are other women, and if we are honest, these women all in the past made the path for the women of today and for our daughters. I think that's really something we should keep a little bit in our mind, and also as a inspiration, but also as a little helpful tool when we are down and out.
Right. Well, let's talk about logistics of this box. So when do you start putting it together? When do you start shipping it? When can people expect to receive it?
I think it's very easy. So the pattern is ready. The yarn has been dyed. So everything is almost ready. So the pre-sales, it's a pre-sale box, of course, because as it's a very exclusive box, we need to know how many boxes we are doing. So it's a pre-sale. People can buy it if you buy it from Switzerland on the Penny Lane Yarns website. If you're buying from Europe, you can go to the La Cavalaine website, and then we will have the pre-sale open until the beginning of November. Then we close it, and then Sara and I meet. If Meret wants to come and have drinks with us, she can. And then begins the other fun part of it, which is emballer, packing all of the little surprises and thing, and to make all the boxes. So, and we will do this beginning of mid November, and then the boxes go out. They're shipped out, and so that everybody is able to open the first little present on January 1st.
To make the boxes, to actually make them, we make like a Fordian chain. a chain like making a machine, meaning that we put all the boxes open on a big table that we have the space in my atelier, and we begin to make every single packet. So there is more than 6 packets for each box. And then we begin to fill them. We write the names on the boxes, and it's one long day that when we gather everything and we make them and we ship them out. And yeah, we do it in a chain,
So there's
listening to
no
music,
little
laughing.
else who is doing it. It's still just you guys.
Yeah, of course. It's me and Deborah, and if Merit wants to come and drink some beer and be the DJ, she's welcome, of course. But yes, it's me and Deborah.
So if people want to order this box, and obviously the faster you order, you're getting the best chance of getting this box because it's going to sell out. When is the last day for the pre-order?
The pre-order will close on the 8th of November 2025. After that, we are too tight to be able to produce everything because everything is already in production. So we have a number in mind, but we are ready to extend this number, but only until the 8th of November.
Right. So if you guys wanna treat yourself in January, if you know that it's gonna get gloomy and dark and you're gonna have that withdrawal after the holidays, or you just want to be kind to yourself and treat yourself to something very special that a lot of love and research went into, I'm going to put all the information about how you can order these boxes in the description of this video. Also, I'm going to put a little information about how you can find these wonderful ladies on Instagram, on their social media. So if you have any questions, you can reach out to them or just give them a follow on Instagram. That always helps. I'm so very happy that you were able to join me today. It's always great to see your faces and to chat with you. I hope we're gonna meet again very soon at Swiss Yarn Festival, or maybe even before. I don't know. Some of us may meet before. Thank you, all three of you, for being my guests today.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Irina.
To the three queens.